Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video which has kind of been circulating a lot recently and I've seen several YouTubers do over the years, and that's kind of how I'm finding sixth form so far, and then all the individual subjects, because a lot of people ask me how I'm finding my specific subjects as well as sixth form in general, and these are sorts of videos which I just find really interesting. They're quite chatty, and just like last year I watched a lot of them just to see what I could expect. So yeah, I'm gonna probably not be sticking to a plan on this video, so it could be quite rambly, so apologies in advance, but I just want to talk through how I'm finding sixth form and A levels and how I compare it to GCSE and just my thoughts and everything on it. So like starting off with sixth form, I'm actually really liking sixth form just like as school. Like it's got such a much nicer atmosphere than secondary school. The people who have gone to my current school are people that I can kind of get along with more, and then there's obviously loads of new people, and I've spoken to people from my old school a lot more. I've spoken to new people a lot more. I've already made like a few friends. I'm loving the new, like the social aspects of sixth form are like great. Also the teachers are so much nicer. Like you can have a proper conversation with a teacher and like joke with them, and you just never could do that last year. And you know that teachers are going to be different at A level, but you kind of don't really know what to expect until they are. And yeah, teachers are just way more supportive as well. Like in a lesson, if I asked, oh sir, I don't get this, I'll just get taken the piss out of or whatever, but they actually come over and like help you properly now, especially with having like much smaller classes. Like we had like classes of 30 last year, and now they're down to like between 7 and 15, and you can just get help so much more easily. Obviously I'm going to state the obvious and say A levels are on a whole other level to GCSEs, and you really don't realise how easy GCSEs are until you hit A levels and you're like shit. I'm going to talk about that when I talk about the subjects. So I've got 4 free periods a week, but they're an hour and 45-minute frees, so I can get a lot of work done during those as well. So I don't actually have to work at home as much as I thought I would need to, and I probably should be working more than I am, but I'm not. But my frees allow me to like get a load of stuff done. Obviously the homework is far greater than GCSEs. I barely got homework in year 11, we were just told to revise, so that was kind of down to me, but now I have like specific stuff I have to do, so I do get a lot more homework now, but I don't get like as much revision, and I'm doing stuff that I actually want to do, so it's fine. Obviously the content is harder, but I'm finding that I'm not failing drastically yet. I expected to go in and get like D's and E's, and I'll be like, that's fine, it's A level, you know, it will be hard at first and then you'll build up and you'll get better, but I've not found it as hard as I expected I would. So I have got like C's to A's across the board, like I've got a whole mix of grades, but I've not failed anything. My grades aren't as bad as I thought they would be, and I'm not finding A levels as hard as they've been worked up to be by other people who said about the jump. Like there's definitely a jump, but it's not as big as I'd anticipated. Like I'm just taking it as I go and seeing what happens. And if you guys were watching me from the summer, you'd know that I was taking 4 subjects and now I'm on 3, and the 4th subject was geography, but I had to drop that because I had wanted to do 3 subjects, but I wasn't particularly sure which ones. So I did the history, geography and maths, and then I picked up psychology as a spare one because I thought it sounded interesting and I thought I'd give it a go, you know. And then when I found out that I liked the other 3 way more than geography, and the geography workload was slowly getting bigger, all my workload was getting bigger and I had less frees, and it was just too much to do, and I did not want to do 4 subjects. I wanted to focus my energies on 3 subjects and get better grades in those ones. So I decided to drop geography as I wasn't finding it interesting. The subject doesn't really interest me as much as say other subjects, and I'd done it more for the social geography rather than the physical geography, and we were doing just so much physical and it was making me like really just not like it. So yeah, unfortunately I had to drop geography, but that's meaning that I can spend more time on the other 3 subjects. So a lot of people have asked me what A levels I take. Obviously I take history, maths and psychology now. So in terms of A level subjects, I'm going to start off by talking about psychology, because a lot of people have asked me about psychology. So I'm on AQA, and honestly I think psychology is really interesting. Like if you've researched it, you'll know that there's some really interesting stuff. So we've only really covered like the kind of boring topic, which is research methods. So it's just about like experiments, types of experiments and pros and cons of them. You know, we haven't got into like the proper psychological things yet, but so far I'm still finding it interesting, and considering this is like the boring stuff that we're doing and I'm finding it interesting, that suggests that the other stuff is going to be really interesting. So far it's kind of reminding me of GCSE science, although obviously a harder version, because there's all these little definitions you have to know, and then the pros and cons, and the marking is very precise like it was at GCSE. So yeah, it is kind of similar to GCSE science, but then we're getting into like case studies and experiments that we need to know about, and studies and the essays and stuff. I do find it interesting, and I think out of the 3 subjects I'm doing, it's probably the easiest. Not that it is easy, but it's easier than the other 2. I feel like it's something I could definitely do, and whether I go into it or not in the future, I enjoy doing it now, so that's what matters. And the fact that I went into it completely uncommitted, going in just as a backup option, and now I've kept doing it, shows that I clearly actually liked it after doing geography for like 5 years at secondary school. So yeah, if you're not sure, I'd take it as a 4th option, and see how you feel, because I think it's really interesting, but it's obviously not to everyone's taste. So I'm going to talk about maths next. I'm finding maths not too hard at the minute. I know it's going to get a lot harder gradually, and I'll probably find it really difficult at stages, but it's something that I've always been able to like naturally do. So I know that it was always something I was going to take, whether it's hard or not. So we've basically covered so far like GCSE crossover stuff and extended it a bit more. So for example, the stuff we're doing now is stuff you do in GCSE further maths. So we're taking all the stuff and taking it a bit further. I don't know how to explain it really, but yeah, it's definitely hard and it's not easy, but with practice it's something I'm going to be able to do hopefully. But I do really enjoy it. We're doing pure and mechanics at the minute. I really don't like mechanics, but I like pure, because mechanics is very physics based and I don't like physics, but it's the math side of physics. I know I can do it, but I'm going to need to work at it a bit longer, and I'm kind of getting there but kind of not. Yeah, mechanics is not a subject which I like, but I like the pure. Because I have 3 teachers and 3 lessons a week, we usually don't get too much homework, just because my teachers only teach us for once a week, so they're not as committed to our class as they maybe are to another class. So for me, maths, I don't get a lot of homework at all. So like for maths homework I'd be doing is just like going over stuff I don't understand and recapping stuff and consolidating. So yeah, maths is that subject where I can probably I won't have to do as much work as I will for the other 2. If you've always been quite mathematical and you like maths at GCSE, maths is definitely a good thing to take. It's so interesting, when you realise a different way of doing something that you never thought of before. Yeah, I'm finding it so interesting. And then finally history, which, oh my god, right. So I got an A star at GCSE and I really liked it at GCSE. So obviously I took it for A level because it's interesting, and it still is interesting, don't get me wrong, but it is so much content, so much work. Anybody else who does history will know exactly what I'm talking about. In GCSE you will copy something out of the textbook and that's all you're going to need to know. At A level, the textbook is so brief compared to what you need to know. So you'll copy out the textbook and you'll be like, fine, okay, next lesson. You'll go into the lesson and you'll have missed so much. We'll cover something and then we'll cover it reading something about that in a book, and we'll make notes on that and have a class discussion, and then we'll read it in another book, make notes on it and have a class discussion, then we'll watch a documentary. We get stuff from all different sources, so that is just so much content, and I have no idea how I'm going to summarise it on flashcards, but it's fine. So for history I am on edXL, which most people are not. Most people are doing AQA, but as I'm on edXL I'm doing at the minute the Russian Revolution and kind of Lenin and Stalin and all them people, and then I'm doing the GDR. And then it's not just about knowing the facts anymore, you have to be able to interpret them. So history feels a bit like, history essays feel a bit more like English essays now, because it'll be like, what is the cause of this, and then you'll give some facts, but then you'll have to interpret it and analyse it slightly. So you could say, I don't know, the Berlin blockade caused a split, this made it more likely that this, and it's like, yes, it's history, but it feels like English at the same time, which is actually good because I wasn't going to do a written subject. Psychology is a kind of a science, and maths is obviously a science or a maths, so history is kind of my written humanities subject, so I've got a really broad range. So we've had 2 essays so far and 2 knowledge tests. And on the first essay about Russia, I got 15 out of 20, I think, which was a B, and then on the second essay I got 17 out of 20, which was an A. So I have got better, and I'm really pleased that I've managed to like go in and get a good grade straight away. And for A level, I am so happy with a B, and then even more happy with the A. But the essays that we have to do are hard, and I've been able to plan them before and know what the essay was. So I think if any exam I'm worried about most would be history for sure, because it's like proper essay writing, and I hate essay writing, but the actual history is so interesting. So history for sure takes up the most time, because obviously I'm given all these articles to read, revision, writing up notes, looking through the textbook, and because it's the centenary of the Russian Revolution right now, there's so much stuff on like the TV, like documentaries, and I feel like I should watch them. So there's just, whew. But all the same, I like history so much. It's so interesting that I will not drop it no matter how heavy it gets. I'm very committed to history. I'm really happy with all 3 of my options. So I hope this wasn't too rambly, and that you kind of got a bit of my side of sixth form. And if you're in year 11 and you're not sure what to pick, I hope this kind of helped you if you're thinking of taking one of the 3 subjects that I've spoken about. And with that being said, I hope you guys are having a great week. I will see you soon, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!